Episode 91, All the Everything Podcast. I'm Billy, and that is Tim.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to our summer short series where we give you just a little tidbit to get through your day. 30 minutes-ish or more, but enough for you guys to take a small bite, get through the episode, and get on with the rest of your summer and taking care of your family or working or whatever you're doing. So sit back, relax. We got a great show for you today. Well, there ain't nothing to it but to do it. Are you ready, my friend?
You better believe it. Let's get into all the everything, y'all.
All the everything. 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 Podcast! Welcome to the madness.
Well, welcome back to yet another amazing episode of All the Everything Podcast. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Tim Sawhook, and I'm joined by my man, the man I miss seeing in person. I need a hug from my BFF, Billy Parchman. How you doing today, Billy?
Oh, dude, I'm great. Hey, we're back in the studio again. It has been a hot minute since we've recorded together. Yeah, because we did a mass bulk recording to get us through all the trips and different things like that. And then we did our solo episodes as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoyed that. But we're back in the studio today.
Yeah, I'm excited. It was funny because we were talking this past weekend about what we were going to do for the shows coming up and everything. And then last night I was panicking. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to charge the camera. I got to charge the other light. I got to make sure that this is charged, because nothing's been set up for a while down here.
For a minute.
Yeah. So because I moved everything around when we weren't recording. So yeah, I was panicking. What do I need? And then I don't know. It came right back.
We're here. But we're not having, knock on wood, we're not having, I shouldn't say it. We're not having technical difficulties at the moment. Okay.
Nor are we having diarrhea from eating lettuce. So
no doo-doo lettuce.
Yeah, no doo-doo lettuce in this house.
No
baby.
doo-doo lettuce.
No lettuce for forever. I'm skipping it for a long time. I'm just too paranoid. I don't have 2 weeks to sit at home and have explosive diarrhea. So
nope.
I have enough for 3 days of that, just not for 2 weeks.
Right. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that's the world we're living in right now. If you listen to this years later, that's what's going on. Don't eat the lettuce or you're going to be screwed. So,
yep. Goodness gracious.
I know. Okay. So we have all that out of the plate. No one's eating lettuce. We're feeling good. We're back in the studio. Billy, what are we talking about today, my friend?
Yes, sir. Okay, so this one is a part 2. We've done this type of episode before, and so we're revisiting it with some brand new stories, some that kind of get you thinking. Is this could this have actually happened? That's right. We're going back to those conspiracy theories, y'all. Oh man, and there's some great ones out there. Oh my goodness.
Oh, there's so many of them. So when we talked about this, we had said we covered a lot of the juggernaut ones the first time, some bigger ones that people know. But when I started doing researching again, I was like, there are so many old ones and there's some new ones, conspiracy theories, and there was a lot to dive into. But he was saying, this is part 2. We did an original one back in April of last year. So it's been a while, and we're going to be revisiting a couple of different episodes coming up, I think, and giving you a part whatever it is.
Part whatever.
Part whatever it is. We'll figure that out when time comes. So yeah, we're excited. Oh, real quick. If you didn't notice, Billy has gone back on YouTube and on our website and added really, really good episode art to all of our old episodes. It looks so good, Billy. I love it. You did a great job, man. Really good job.
That was really fun. That one was I wasn't telling Tim. I worked on it for a week straight, and I was like, I'm not telling him. I'm just going to surprise him with all of it, and then got it done. Thank you, though.
You're the man. No, it looks really good. And the details of all the stuff, it just really paints a picture for what we're getting ready to do in each episode. So good job on that, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, back to conspiracies. What Billy did is not a conspiracy; it's the truth. So check it out.
It is.
Now, Billy, do you want to kick us off today with your conspiracy?
Let's do it. Oh my goodness, yeah. And I got one that just kind of hits kind of close to home. Something that I remember when all of this was going down, because this was my life basically in middle school and high school. If you've listened to the show, you know that I am I loved the NBA. I
Mm-hmm.
loved playing basketball. That was my sport growing up.
Yeah, me
They
too.
called me Shabil O'Neal. That was my nickname. But we're going to be visiting a crazy conspiracy theory that involves one of the greatest of all time, a goat, the goat.
The
There's no
goat.
debate. The goat.
No
There's
debate.
no debate. No debate. Okay, so just imagine being so good at your job that your bosses cannot fire you, cannot punish you, and honestly cannot afford to even make you angry. You are not merely the best employee in the building, you are the building. You're the
Mm.
reason millions of people are watching. Then, at the absolute height of your success,
Mm-hmm.
you suddenly walk away. You don't gradually slow down. You don't have a terrible season. You don't
Mm-hmm.
lose your position to a younger player with better knees. You win your third consecutive championship. You establish yourself as the most famous athlete on the planet. And you look around at everything that you've built and say, you know what? I think I'm going to go play baseball now.
Mm-hmm.
What? But that is
Makes no sense.
exactly, yeah, that is exactly what Michael Jordan did in 1993. Unless, of course, he did not.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh, I'm ready for this.
Yeah. Well, welcome to one of the greatest conspiracy theories in sports history. Michael Jordan's first retirement was not really a retirement. According to this theory, Jordan
Mm-hmm.
was secretly suspended by the NBA because of his gambling.
Mm.
And his brief career as a professional baseball player was the world's most elaborate cover story out there. Of course, this is a conspiracy theory. It's not
Right.
fact. Just put that out there. Okay, so before we get into this theory, we need to understand exactly where Michael Jordan was in 1993.
Mm-hmm.
This was not an aging superstar desperately hanging on to those glory days. Nope. Jordan was 30 years old and had just led the Chicago Bulls to their third consecutive NBA championship. He won 3 straight NBA Final MVP awards and had
Mm-hmm.
already won multiple regular season MVP awards and had won the top scorer of the league 7 years consecutively. So
So he's rolling right now.
he is in the height of
Yeah.
his career. He is at the pinnacle and he has become the most recognizable person on the planet. Just think he in 1993 he was Taylor Swift. He was Mr. Beast, could not go
Yeah.
out without security. He was not approaching the mountaintop. He was the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's Michael Jordan in 1993. Then on October 6, 1993, Michael Jordan announced that he was retiring from basketball. He said that he had lost his desire to play the game. His father, James Jordan, had just been murdered several
Mm.
months earlier. And then Michael later explained that the loss played an enormous role in his decision. He was emotionally exhausted, mentally drained, and tired of living under the constant pressure of, being Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to pursue baseball, something that his father had encouraged him to do. Those are completely understandable reasons for stepping away, but conspiracy theorists rarely begin with completely understandable reasons, right? They
Right.
begin when somebody squints at the television and says, you know what? I don't know about that. Something kind of feels weird, right?
Yeah.
And plenty of people thought that this felt extremely weird.
So I graduated in 1993, Billy, to give you some.
Wow.
And no, I know I feel old. And I remember this going on. And I mean, me and my family, which we talked about a long time ago, huge basketball fans, watched
You're
NBA
right.
forever.
Mhm.
Just we all, just love Michael Jordan. We couldn't understand why he was leaving. Now we understood about the dad thing, a lot of
Right.
emotional things going on, but
Mhm.
this was such a huge surprise. So I'm like
Yes.
on the edge of my seat waiting to hear more about this.
Right. Right. Jordan had just won 3 championships in a row. He's still the best player in basketball. And
Mm-hmm.
athletes normally do not retire at the peak of their careers. Here, Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player alive, is
Mhm.
trading his Chicago Bulls uniform for a Birmingham Barons baseball jersey. Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. And being from the Birmingham area and knowing exactly where he went, it was kind of
Mhm.
neat though. But it's just crazy.
Yeah.
The conspiracy starts with something that is not disputed. Michael Jordan loves to gamble.
Mhm.
That is a fact. He's
Yeah.
never hidden that fact. He bets on everything. Cards, golf, casinos. He will throw down some money because of his competitive nature. Jordan described gambling as part of his competitive personality. The
Mhm.
problem wasn't simply that he gambled. The problem was the amount of money involved and the people sometimes connected to these stories. So,
Yeah.
in the early 1990s, reports about Jordan's gambling began attracting serious attention. Before the Eastern Conference Finals in 1993, Jordan was spotted gambling in Atlantic City late one night. Now, that is not necessarily illegal or proof of anything sinister,
Right.
but when you're the face of the NBA and you're seen in a casino during the playoffs, people are going to question. Most players prefer, for an important playoff game, to be resting, studying film, hydrating, getting ready.
Mhm.
Jordan apparently prepared by seeing whether his eight could beat the dealer's face cards. So, um, the story came out that there was this man named James Slim Boulder. Federal
Mhm.
authorities investigating Boulder for a check that they found for $57,000 written by Michael Jordan. Now, Jordan initially said the money was connected to a business loan, but he later testified that it was payment for gambling losses from golf.
Mm.
Jordan was never charged with a crime, and there's no proof that he ever bet on NBA games. Still, discovering a large check from the league's biggest superstar during an investigation involving a convicted drug dealer was not exactly the publicity that the NBA wanted. Another golfer, Richard Esquinez, published a book in 1993 claiming that Jordan had accumulated more than $1 million in gambling losses during their golf matches. Jordan disputed that amount, and the two eventually reached a much smaller settlement.
Mhm.
Still, these stories kept piling up: casinos, golf bets, enormous checks, late night gambling trips, headlines questioning whether the world's most famous athlete had a serious gambling problem. And suddenly, the theory had all the ingredients that it needed. According to the conspiracy, believers believed that the NBA commissioner, David Stern, launched an investigation into Jordan's gambling and discovered something serious enough to require punishment.
Mm.
However, publicly suspending Michael Jordan would have been disastrous for the league. Jordan
Yeah.
was not simply just another player. He was the NBA's greatest attraction, the most valuable marketing tool, and the athlete who helped transform professional basketball into a global phenomenon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Suspending him from gambling could damage Jordan, the Chicago Bulls, the NBA, and then every company that his face sells, like shoes, cereal,
Yeah.
Gatorade, just products. I mean, just were
Nonstop products,
enormous.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would damage all of that. So, according to the theory, Stern and Jordan reached a secret agreement. Jordan would announce his retirement, disappear from basketball for a while, and then serve his unofficial suspension from the NBA. And then they would never have to admit that they had punished him. He would go
Mhm.
play baseball. The gambling controversy would fade, and enough time would have passed that he would be allowed to return. The NBA would protect its reputation, Jordan would protect his legacy, and fans would believe that the greatest basketball player in the world had simply decided that he would rather ride buses through the minor leagues and attempt to hit curveballs. That's the theory. Michael Jordan's baseball career was not a dream, it was detention. So,
Mhm.
the timing certainly gives conspiracy believers plenty to work with. The NBA investigated Jordan's gambling in 1993. Jordan retired later that same year. He remained away from basketball for roughly 17 months before announcing his return in March of 1995 with the most Michael Jordan press release imaginable.
Yeah.
Not not of this emotional essay, no televised specials, no documentary crews, just 2 words: I'm back.
Mm.
To conspiracy theorists, that return looks very suspicious. Jordan did not return at the beginning of a new season. No, he returned in March with only 17 games left in the regular season.
Hmm.
It almost was like someone had looked at the calendar and said, "Okay, Michael, you've officially learned your lesson. You may now
Hmm.
come back to basketball." And he did. Now, we arrive to the biggest question. Could the NBA actually have hidden a suspension involving the most famous athlete in the world? For this theory, David Stern, Michael Jordan, Jordan's representatives, the Chicago Bulls, the NBA investigators, and potentially several other people would have needed to keep their mouths shut for nearly 30 years.
Hmm.
Nobody has produced a letter, an email, a memo, a contract, a recording conversation for 30 years. Now, something of that nature, if you had that kind of thing,
Yeah.
TMZ would pay so much money to release
So
that.
much money. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and to say that nobody involved in one of the biggest, cover-ups, quote unquote,
Yeah.
in sports history. Um, so, I'll
Yeah.
just put that out there. Now, the former NBA commissioner, David Stern, repeatedly denied that Jordan had been secretly suspended. So he said that. Jordan had also denied the theory. In The Last Dance, Jordan explained that he was physically and just emotionally exhausted. He was overwhelmed by fame and he was deeply affected by his father's death. I
Hmm.
completely understand that,
Sure.
100%.
Yeah.
The NBA's investigation concluded that there was no evidence of Jordan had violated any league rules on betting on basketball games. And that's the important thing because
Hmm.
he's allowed to gamble.
Right.
That is totally legal and within league rules. He is not. And Pete Rose and
Yeah.
the you see like the quarterbacks from like Texas Tech here recently that have
Yeah.
like they're betting on games when they have the actual game in their hands. That's
Hmm.
different. That's a
Yeah.
whole
Totally
different.
different. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the NBA said that that was not an issue. And so, with all of this said, um, what do you think? Do you think that the NBA secretly suspended Michael Jordan, the biggest star on the planet, just so they could protect their reputation? Or no, it was what it was.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was going through a moment in his life that he needed a change. He needed a breather. Now, to say all that, he did go to the Barons and he put his heart and soul. He practiced so hard.
He
He
did.
was
Yeah.
he wasn't the greatest baseball player on the planet, not even, by any stretch, but he gave it his all. And then he went back to what he was great at. And so that is the conspiracy of Michael Jordan being secretly
Mm.
suspended by the NBA.
I love that. It's funny. I'm glad you did this because I haven't really even thought about that conspiracy thing in forever. I
Right.
mean, here's the deal with everybody, every human in the world, right? Anytime something happens that we can't explain or wonder why it's happening, we fill in the blank with whatever, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of people just use this to fill in the blank because we couldn't understand why this person would walk away from basketball in the height, like you said, of his career and winning all these different things. And it was hard to deal with. But I understood also about him losing his dad so tragically. And it was
Right.
just like, I need the spotlight off me, kind of, even though he went and played minor league baseball.
Right.
Brought the spotlight right back on. But it does make you think like something could have happened because his
Something could have
gambling
happened.
was a big story for a long, long time.
Oh yeah.
Back then, and still today, he still will
Still
bet you on
today,
anything.
he will bet you on anything. Yep.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was really good.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
what do you think?
No, I think, I think, okay, the Michael Jordan that I saw through my, you know, young preteen eyes and the real Michael Jordan I know are completely different people. And if you watch The Last
Right.
Dance, you could see how competitive and,
Oh
you
my
know,
gosh.
and just like how much of a shark he was, even on the basketball court and different things like that. it's not what you see when you see them like on the commercials and the Gatorade and the Air Jordans and all these other things like that. Just,
Right.
because not back in the 90s, you saw what they put out. Now today, you see everything with social
Yeah.
media and different news organizations and everything. You see all around.
Yeah.
I don't think they secretly suspended. I think he just really wanted to try baseball.
I mean, that would be my take also. But
Yeah,
that's the fun thing about conspiracy
that's a
theories,
fun,
right?
but it could. Who knows? Who knows?
We'll never ever know, or will
Yep.
we? All right. So let me give you my conspiracy theory today. So I talked about at the beginning, there's a lot of old conspiracy theories, and I just wanted to find out what's like the newest conspiracy theory in the last maybe 5 years or so. Something that has internet talking and chatting about it. So I did some research into some of those, and I came up with one that I thought was interesting. And it may be taking a path down to crazy town, but some people live in crazy town, so you
Right.
gotta you sometimes you gotta visit it and see if it's crazy for you. So my conspiracy theory is about the CERN, CERN timeline shift theory and conspiracy. Okay.
Okay.
So let me ask you this, Billy. Have you ever had one of those moments where something just didn't feel right? Right? You know, maybe you
Oh
looked at an
yeah.
old logo, and thought, that's not how I remember it. Maybe
Right.
you've quoted a movie you've seen 100 times only to find out the line was never actually said.
Sure.
Maybe you've caught yourself thinking that the world has felt, different over the past decade, faster, more chaotic, less familiar. Well, believe it or not, there are people who think there's a reason for that. They believe the world as we know it ended in 2012. Not with explosions, not with an asteroid, not with zombies, but with a scientific experiment. All right, so according to the theory, humanity unknowingly crossed into another timeline after scientists at the CERN, I don't know what it stands for, it's a scientific place, discovered one of the most important particles in physics, the Higgs boson. So Higgs boson was a new particle, often
Okay.
named the God particle. You've heard about these things before, right?
I have not.
Well,
So this is going to be new for
oh,
me.
okay. All right. So they discovered something in physics, what's called the Higgs boson, but it's often known as the God particle, like the big boom or whatever they want to say that created, the world. The theory claims that reality itself fractured. And every strange thing that's happened since, every bizarre memory, every feeling that time moves differently, quicker, every cultural shift, it's all because we're living in a different version of reality. Now, before we go any further, let's be crystal clear. There is no scientific evidence that any of this actually happened, right?
Sure. Right.
But today's episode isn't about proving the conspiracy, right? It's about exploring why millions of people have become fascinated by it, what real science says, and what this theory refuses to disappear about it. So buckle up, because we're going to find out, did we actually die in 2012? Here we go. So this is the year that everyone thought the world would end. Let's rewind to 2012. It almost feels like another lifetime ago. Do you remember all the build up to 2012? The world's going to
2012
end.
was with a Mayan
Mayan
calendar.
the Mayan
Yes.
calendar ended, so we're all
Yes.
going to die. It was so much big things about it. People, were crazy about it. So
Right.
Facebook was still the biggest social media platform back then. Instagram was
Sure.
brand new. Streaming services were just beginning to replace DVDs. And everywhere you looked, people were talking about December 21st, 2012.
Right.
Television specials, there were books, documentaries, radio shows. The internet was obsessed with one question: was the world about to end? So, unlike our calendar, which repeats every year, the Mayans measured incredibly long cycles of time. One of those cycles, they call it the 13th Bactun, Baktun, ended on December 21st, 2012. Many people interpret that as a prophecy, right? The end of civilization, massive floods, planetary unalignment, a rogue planet called Nibiru was supposed to come into place, solar flares were going to happen, even an alien intervention was going to take place. The theories became more outrageous every single month what was going to happen December 21st of 2012.
Right.
Some people sold everything they owned. I don't know if you remember this, Billy. Some people sold everything they owned. Others built underground bunkers. Survival food companies saw record sales. And there were reports of schools having to calm frightened children who genuinely believed they would not be alive by the time Christmas came. All right. That's 4 days later after this was supposed to happen. Then December 21st arrived. The sun came up. People went to work. Nothing obvious happened. So most people, they laughed and moved on. But conspiracy theorists would ask, What if something did happen and we simply just didn't notice? So, an important fact, the Mayans never predicted the end of the world, to be clear. They
Right.
never said that.
Right.
Archaeologists have repeatedly explained their calendars simply mark the end of one large cycle and the beginning of another. Similar to how we roll over for December 31st to January 1st. That's our reset, right?
Right.
So this is where we enter CERN, CERN. Now we introduce a completely separate story, a real one, CERN, officially known as the European Organization for Nuclear Research, okay?
Okay.
It's located on the border of Switzerland and France. It houses one
Okay.
of the greatest scientific achievements in human history. This is the Large Hadron Collider, or simply the LHC. Now, imagine a circular tunnel that's 17 miles around. A circle
Oh.
17 miles around, that big, right?
Okay.
Buried nearly 300 feet in the ground. Inside that tunnel, scientists accelerate tiny particles to almost the speed of light. Then they intentionally smash them together. And you might
Right.
ask why, right? Because
Mhm.
those collisions recreate conditions that existed fractions of a second after the quote unquote Big Bang. Now, think of it as smashing two watches together to figure out how watches are built. Instead of watches, it's reality itself. They were smashing into each other, okay? So the LHC, as we'll call it, reaches about 99.999999% of the speed of light. Each second, billions of particle collisions occurred inside this machine, the 17-mile circular thing.
Mhm.
Then that spawned what they call the God particle. So on July 4th, 2012, scientists made history. They announced evidence of the Higgs boson. Headlines around the world exploded. The God particle has been found. The nickname made it sound mystical, almost supernatural. In reality, it really isn't, though. Here's a simple explanation. Imagine swimming through water, okay? The water
Mhm.
slows you down. Now imagine the entire universe is filled with an invisible field. Scientists call it the Higgs field. Every
Mhm.
particle moves through it. Some interact with it a lot, others barely interact at all. The more interaction, the more mass something has. Without this field, nothing would have weight. Nothing could form atoms. No stars, no planets, no people. Finding the Higgs boson confirmed one of the biggest predictions in modern physics. It was a monumental scientific achievement. But then the internet did what the internet does. Instead of it started connecting dots. Like I just said again, with something we
Mhm.
can't grasp, we start filling in the blank with sometimes nonsense. You
Right.
never know. So December 2012, the Mayan calendar, the God particle, CERN, reality, timeline, coincidence, or is it something more, Billy? What do you think?
Mm.
So we go
Mm.
into part 4 here, the timeline shift.
Oh, okay.
Here's where the conspiracy truly begins. Believers claim CERN didn't just discover a particle, they accidentally altered reality. Some versions suggest they created a microscopic black hole. Now, others claim they opened a portal. Some believe they split our timeline into countless alternate realities, also known as the multiverse. Sound familiar to anybody?
Oh, yeah, right?
The most popular version says humanity died in one timeline, 2012, December 21st, but our consciousness shifted into another nearly identical universe, one where history is mostly the same, but not exactly. Things are just a slightly different. According to believers, that's why reality feels off. All right. Now, I'm going to
Mhm.
go into something we've talked about before in a different podcast, but the Mandela effect, right? I'm going to go
Right.
into this briefly if you didn't hear that podcast. So, if you spent any time online, you probably heard this term, the Mandela effect, right? This comes from Nelson Mandela. Thousands of
Mhm.
people remember him dying in prison in the early 80s, except he didn't. He became the president of South Africa, and eventually he did pass away in 2013.
Right.
So, how could so many unrelated people remember the same incorrect event? Well, psychologists call it a shared false memory. Conspiracy theorists call it evidence, right? Then the examples kept coming. We talked about the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstein Bears, right? Did the
Mhm.
Monopoly Man wear a monocle? Some say yes, some say no. Does
Right.
Darth Vader actually say, Luke, I am your father? Did the Fruit of the Loom logo have a cornucopia in it, right? You've heard all these different
Right.
things probably if you're on the internet at all recently in the past
Mhm.
year or so. So many people are shocked when they discover these memories don't match reality, right? So the conspiracy asks, what if we're remembering details from another timeline? Psychologists explain these through memory reconstruction. Our brains don't replay memories like videos, they rebuild them every time we remember them. That process isn't perfect. When I read that and that research of it, that makes sense, right? If you think about
Mhm.
things when we like come back and replay a memory, how they said that we kind of rebuild it every single time because it does shift a little bit by how long the memory's been, um, if it's more rich or old, family based, or like
Right.
trips,
Right.
anything. You kind of try to recall it, and you're like, oh yeah, that happened, that happened. And then if you have a wife, they're surely to tell you you're wrong right there. Nope, that did not happen. Like on a recent episode I did about Adventures by Disney, she was down here yelling at me, "That's not right. We didn't do that. That's not right. I was in the other place." I'm like, "Dang it, son of a gun." But anyhow, so we rebuild them like when we remember them, and the process isn't perfect. So why does everything feel different right now? Here's where the theory becomes psychological. Okay. Many people genuinely say life has felt strange since the early 2010s. Technology accelerated, social media exploded,
Mhm.
artificial intelligence entered everyday life, the pandemic, the pandemic,
Pandemic.
that pandemic reshaped society. Time itself seems faster. And you know what? I would agree with that part. I feel like things are just flying by recently. I don't know how you feel. The reality is time's still moving the same, but like,
Yeah.
have you also felt that and heard that everything just
It
seems
goes
like,
so quick. This summer's flown by. Like
yeah,
the girls will be going back
yeah,
to school before we know it.
no,
And I'm
it's
like, we just got out
crazy.
of school. Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like we just had this conversation. So
Yeah.
everyone's talking about right now. The time itself seems faster. Children became adults overnight. Is that evidence of another timeline, though? Probably not, but explains why conspiracy resonates with people. People naturally search for explanations when life changes dramatically.
Mhm.
So, what does science say about this whole thing? Scientists reject this total conspiracy theory completely. And here's why. Cosmic rays constantly strike Earth's atmosphere. Some carry even more energy than the CERN can produce. So think about what they produce. They said that
Mhm.
even more energy comes in through that than even that produced. These
Right.
collisions have happened naturally for tons and tons of years. Now, if they could destroy reality, reality still wouldn't be here. As for
Mhm.
parallel universes, some theories in physics do allow for the possibility, right? Those have been talked about. The
Right.
many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics is one example. Cosmic inflation suggests other universes might exist. But that is the huge distinction. There's no evidence that humans have ever moved between universes or that the CERN caused anything like that at all. The
Mhm.
existence of one idea does not prove another. So, why this theory won't die on the internet? Because it's the internet, right?
Mhm.
Um, every generation has its great mystery. The Bermuda Triangle, Area 51, Roswell, Bigfoot, and now the internet's talking about CERN because these theories combine everything people love: ancient prophecy, secret science, quantum physics, memory, parallel universes, and it gives people a story to explain why the world feels unfamiliar to them. Whether it's true
Mhm.
or not, it's kind of compelling, actually, right?
Mhm.
So, Billy, I ask you this: did we die in 2012?
I would say no. No, we didn't.
And the research would say almost certainly not. Did CERN accidentally rip open reality? There is no evidence that it did. Did discovering the Higgs boson move humanity into another universe? Again, science says no. But here's what fascinates us: the fact that millions of intelligent people have entertained the idea tells us something profound about human nature. We are
Mhm.
wired to look for patterns. We want
Mhm.
answers. We want to connect the dots. Sometimes those connections reveal incredible truths. Sometimes they create unforgettable stories. And this one, maybe one of the greatest internet stories ever told to this date, will leave you with one final question. The next time you swear something used to be different, the next time a movie quote isn't what you remembered, the next time a logo looks wrong, ask yourself, is it just your memory? Or is there another version of you somewhere who remember it exactly the way you do? So, here's what we ask you guys. Do you believe there was a time shift in 2012? Did we actually die, slip into a multi universe to another timeline? I doubt it. But there are a lot of people, and it's crazy. Like they said, there's a lot of intelligent humans out there right now who
Uh-huh.
think this is a true story that it did.
Okay.
And again, like I said before, we just want to connect the dots, right? We want to fill in
Right.
for one reason why we can't remember everything correctly, or why it's different, or why time is faster and things just seem heavier ever since kind
Mhm.
of 2012. So That is my conspiracy theory, the newest one that I could find of the CERN timeline shift conspiracy. But you know what? It is something I hear all the time, that time is just flying by. Like, oh my
It
gosh,
really
like,
is, though, and
it's
especially if you have
crazy.
kids. If you have
Yeah,
kids, and that time is just, oh my gosh, yeah,
it's insane. Yeah, it's
yeah,
insane. So again, we're always out there looking for answers, but without going fully into it, I think we have a pretty good grip on what the real answers are. So I'll just stick with those
right,
for now.
yeah, yeah.
But oh my gosh, I hope you guys enjoyed this today, Billy. Where can they share their conspiracy theories and what they think about ours?
Yeah, head on over to Facebook and type in All the Everything Podcast. You'll see us right there. And that's going to be the biggest place to have a conversation, to post a post or a comment or whatever on there. We're also on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on YouTube. You can watch this whole episode. But yeah, just head over there. And then if you're there on the interwebs on your phone, pull up, especially if you have an iPhone, pull up Apple Podcast, leave us a 5-star written review. That would mean the world to us. That is the best way for us to get out to the people. The more people see us and, hey, enjoy us, hopefully, and let us know. That helps Apple get that out to the peoples.
Yeah, and also don't forget about our super secret, not secret group chat we have for our podcast. Right. So we've added a couple new people recently. It's just a fun way for us to, like, what you guys think? What's your favorite episodes? And I love when people weigh in after a new episode comes up.
Yeah. I love on Thursdays. I'll get a text and be like, hey, that was awesome. I was thinking about this, or, we did this.
Yeah.
That's similar, it's really cool.
It is really cool. So check out, if you want to join our secret, super secret, not secret, whatever secret group chat, reach out to us and let us know. It doesn't cost you anything. We'll be happy to enter you into the group. So anyhow, before I talk about secret chats anymore, I want to thank you guys for joining us today for yet another amazing episode of All the Everything Podcast. We can't wait to have you here with us next time. I hope you guys have a great day.
Bye, y'all.